Love for all, hatred for none. Love for
If
all.
dating is now taken out completely for argument's sake, and somebody's watching us right now and says, okay, let's say I won't date, how then am I supposed to get married?
So that's also another very important thing I think, and the video kind of touches on a little bit. And I think basically what we need to understand is that how does dating function as opposed to how
Hmm.
does arranged marriage function. And so as the video barely touched it, but he basically talked about how American love marriages will initially start off with more love. Obviously, they've already started off with that, but in the end, who wins? And they made it very clear. And so that's what it is. It's talking about how most people in dating culture will love first, and
Hmm.
then they'll start to discover the qualities, good or bad, of that person. And more
Right.
often than not, when they eventually get to that point, when they realize, I love this person, I'm head over heels, and then they get closer to them, and then they get closer to them, and then what happens? Then they find out they have a drug problem, or they're pathological
Yeah.
liars, or whatever it may be. And so now
Yeah.
it's so hard for them to undo that because
Yeah.
they're at a point where now they love this person, but this person has some serious
So,
flaws.
so coming to this point of even love, Robert Rizwan, let me push that back a little bit. When we say, marriage is all about love, is all about partners, in Islam, it certainly is more than just that, right? Or is that what it is in Islam as well? Let's highlight that a little bit.
Well, I
What
mean, I did
determines
find
marriage?
that statistic in the video, yeah, really interesting, which is that like those people who do get arranged marriage, even in ways that Islam doesn't teach, they're getting forced into it and stuff. But how is it that that relationship flourishes later on? It shows that there has to be a lot to do, perhaps, with the mentality with which you go into a relationship. And bouncing off
Mm.
that point that Mahmoud Saab was mentioning about how, when people go in, what qualities are they looking for? I mean,
Yeah.
I think that when it comes to dating, then we don't always have those long term qualities in mind. It takes years to learn that wisdom. We have
Yeah.
to consult with our family. We have to consult people who are more wise. These days, we take it as a very individual thing. But in an arranged marriage, you don't start off by seeing that, am I head over heels infatuated with this
Mhm.
person? Our judgment is not fogged by that, but rather it's
Mhm.
by what are this person's characteristics, how are they, what's the opinion of them in their family, in their extended family, and their friends. That's where you get to know a person's character. And if that's there,
Yeah.
then you can fall in love with somebody. I mean, I think that, as human beings, we can fall in love with a significant minority of the entire human species, because I mean, how vindictive and hateful of a person would you have to be to just be incapable of loving most of the good people that there are in the world. So I mean, I think
Yeah.
that definition of love, like you only have one soulmate, otherwise you're miserable, that's something that Disney has taught people. That's not right.
Yeah.
You just have to
Yeah. And I
focus
think
on
that
the good.
And I think that's where the difference comes in, right? It depends on what you're looking for. And as we're here, covering the Islamic perspective, we're not just talking about, oh, you're going to be so infatuated with this person that every day you'll dream of them, you'll be staring at them every second of your life and be ready to die for them. No, like we hear in the movies, that may not be the most realistic thing. But also Islam tells you to prefer something that after you get married, that will continue to be valued. If anything, you can always increase that. It doesn't depreciate. It's not about the beauty. It's not about the money. It's about something more, right? So let's highlight that a little bit and see how that would be more lasting. And I think that's what makes it important for families to also be involved, right? As far as, because
Mhm.
some people argue that I don't need my family. How does that affect me?
Yeah, yeah.
There's
Yeah,
there's
definitely.
another
Like one
angle
thing in
too.
the video that was mentioned was that, arranged marriage, like right in the first point, there was like a girl who just called off her own arranged marriage. And it was almost a comical situation. I don't know how it happened, where she asked her
No,
husband
it's
what like five
for
times
math.
seven was. And yeah, he couldn't figure it
Yeah,
out. So she just
exactly.
said it's over. But I mean,
And
that's
it's
the
amazing
thing
how
is
the girl
interesting.
asked a math
Uh,
Yeah,
question. Like she was educated, and he didn't have the answer.
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, like, if she can call it off, that means that she has a say in the arrangement. I mean, basically, that's what Islam teaches, which is that arranged marriage doesn't mean that someone else is arranging it for you. I mean, for a lot of people, from a cultural perspective, that is what it means. But really, what it means is that you arrange it yourself. And Dibasab, you were mentioning that point of family and involvement. The thing is, we involve whoever we want to in our family in that process. We can get help from
mhm,
our parents. We should. Obviously, they're the ones who are most interested in our future. But then we can
mhm.
get help from our friends, our relatives, cousins, aunts, uncles, whoever we want to, anybody that we know can arrange our marriage. So, I mean, that arranged thing, that has to be kind of made clear in our mind as well, that it's not that different from dating, in that you are still the one who's making the decision, and that's
That's an
fundamental.
interesting point.
now there's another
So
angle
go
too,
ahead.
Divasa. That's nowadays, even in the dating world or whatever, people are also trusting AI, for example. Computers to
Yeah.
decide or arrange for them. It's not that they're
course.
not wanting somebody to arrange something or to look at the qualities that they're looking at. eHarmony, for example, is something that exists that is exactly in line with what the idea of arranging a marriage for somebody. So all we're saying is that have that family connection or family connection or that social connection you may have that can help you find the right suitable partner, as opposed to trusting in some AI that's designed by some random person.
Yeah, and there are cases where, it doesn't necessarily have to be family, right? I mean, I personally know of cases where somebody has converted to Islam, for example, and to them, they've taken the principles of Islam to be those values that define who they are and these kind of decisions they make. They find no one in their family to help them, to support them. And they go ahead and they do end up, being in very successful marriages. As we normally do, we have a question of the day that we want to engage all of you in to participate in. So I'll tell you what the question of the day is, just so we keep you engaged. You tell us your thoughts, and we'll come back to the next discussion point. So the question of the day, if we can have that pulled up, is... There we go. So you can get your pens out or your iPads or whatever. Do you think dating will make marriage obsolete? Is that what you think? I mean, there's no right and wrong answer as far as what your opinion is. So do you think dating will make marriage obsolete? Right. So that's...
Before you head back into your busy lives, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon.
Love for all, hatred for none.